other way. Yeah, life's not really free. Yeah, the law's breaking down on me. Yeah, about time I'm cash doesn't really matter. You gotta pay the price. You wanna climb the ladder.
PowerNation Under the Hood is brought to you by Summit Racing Equipment.
This C10 proves not all things that matter are light. It is a force that pulls you in. All right, one clean C10. How's it going, man?
Good. How you doing, Mike?
Good, good. Man, I tell you what, in a world full of C10s, this one has definitely caught my eye, man.
Thank you, sir.
Y'all have done a heck of a job on this. What are some of the things that you could point out, make this one a little bit special for you?
Well, this one here, it's got a no-limit engineering chassis under it. Built 6.0 in it. Shaved the drip rails on it. They've been shaved and smoothed.
Now, I noticed on this window here, you got a lot of work. That's not a factory glass, and this cowl usually comes up all the way up to the glass.
So that's a Fesler built windshield and back glass, and they actually make them to fit the factory hole. So there is a little bit of work where all the panels are like triple walled right there that you have to weld and fix if you want it smooth.
Yeah.
But it actually fits the original hole and gets glued in.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that really cleans it up, and so those little details that when you walk around, that stuff just keeps popping out. Like, oh man, yeah, that's different.
Right.
That's different, and it takes a lot of man hours to do that stuff, you know. And some people don't really realize how much work it actually takes to make those subtle body changes like that. So now the bed, I noticed this gap. Would you bring that closer to the cab there?
We tried to fit it as tight as we could without really modifying it a lot.
Yeah, because when you want to clean that gap up, but then you got to worry about the tire in the center of the wheel well and stuff like that. So
yes, sir.
That wheel, look how deep that thing is. Did you have to narrow the rear end?
We did, yeah. The rear end's been narrowed and then the offset, you know, on the wheels. But those Billet Specialties, they really look good.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely clean. That trim, that's one thing about these trucks is they have so many options as far as the trim package. You could get rid of the trim, you could have that lower belt line, you could have the two-stage deal.
Right.
But that one's really nice. Now, did y'all paint the red striping?
That is actually striped. That's not painted, so that's actually a vinyl stripe because, you know, the original molding was black.
Right.
And a lot of people have done the red. We've done a couple others. We did an orange one on one, but we thought with the red interior and the red bedwood that the red stripe just fit.
It really does with the emblem as well.
Right.
You know, that black, I mean, you get lost in it. That black, how deep that black is on this thing.
Yeah, a lot of hours in sanding and buffing.
I tell you what, there's so much work with just the body, you know, and to make one of these paint jobs really pop.
Yes, sir.
Now these bumpers, I mean, when you initially look at it, it looks stock, but when you start looking up close, it looks a little bit tighter, a little bit closer to the body.
Yeah, we thinned it a little bit. They actually make those like that now, but we did thin it a little bit and we sucked it in, tried to fill in the gap rather than using the gravel shields that were originally on top of the bumper brackets.
It's always a unique way to tie in the tail lights, the reverse lights in the back here, because there's so many angles and dimensions, and you got the trim that can use or not be used on that. But this one has really made it clean there. Yeah,
it cleans it up and it adds something to it, so it's not as plain. You know, that's why we opted to go with the lettered tailgate instead of the smooth one now, just to give it a little more of that original look.
I had a truck just like this, and my dad actually backed into the tailgate of it, and then I come out and I was like, oh man, you know, and so I need to get a new tailgate because it wrinkled it up, and mine had the letters stamped in it, the factory style. So when I'm looking at buying a new tailgate, these with the stamped letters were like $600 versus a plain Jane was like $200. Like, man, do I make him pay for all that stuff? I was like, no, we'll just put the smooth one on there.
Yeah.
But
you got to pay for that license.
Man, I tell you what, there's a lot more just to get those letters embossed into there. So.
Yes, sir. And on this particular truck, we also added back here. We added one of my taillight fuel fillers that we produce.
Right. Yeah. So these trucks factory had the fuel tank behind the seat.
Yep.
Now that worked back in the day, but popping out through the taillight, that's a cool way to do it there, you know. And y'all make a kit for that?
We do, yes. We
kit
make
for
and
that?
sell that kit since 2017.
Yeah, I've seen those. Those are always cool ways to do it, but a lot of them, when you pop them out the tail light, now that they don't get even between the sides, but this one really looks nice when it's set in.
So we actually recess whenever you do that, you have to take that light in so it'll fold proper.
Right.
And we actually recess all the lights to
Both sides.
backup lights and all, just so it'll match, so it
Right.
doesn't look odd.
Right. Yeah, that was the hard thing about doing it, popping that one out. Well, now it's an oddball from
Yes,
the rest
sir.
of them. So you actually have to work on them all to get that clean look.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, between that, I've seen them, you could bring the fuel neck up through here or pop out the side marker.
Right.
That's a unique way to put a signature on a vehicle, for your build there. Now, I think these trucks was this one 6-lug to start with?
It was, yes.
Yeah, those 6 lugs, they're unique, but it makes it hard to find a wheel
Right.
that will work with that. So yeah, you've converted over to the 5-lug setup, and really got the combination with that wheel and tire package. It matches this just right.
Yeah, we thought it matched pretty good, and like I said, when you go to 5-lug, it opens up your wheel options tremendously.
Right,
but
right.
yeah, all these trucks were 6-lug until 1971.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
when-
coming down the side, the quarter windows. Some people love them, the nostalgia of the
Right.
quarter window there. And some people want to get rid of them, smooth it out.
Yeah.
This one, it's just really clean.
We thought it went with the look of the shaved drip rails and
Right.
the smooth, flush mounted windows
Right.
and stuff like
Right,
that.
it definitely fit between all the glass and then the drip rail being removed there. It really cleaned it up. And this thing going by, you're like, oh, that's another C10. Wait a minute. Look, it's got a lot of subtle modifications
just subtle
that really
stuff.
sets it apart.
Yes, sir.
Now the interior, black exterior, red interior, that
Right.
pops. That's like
Yes.
ultimate pop right there. And I can already smell the leather
Yeah.
from here,
Yeah, that's Apex leather that we used in there, and we do everything in house. So that's our interior and our paint and everything. So we
That
just sort of
says a
have
lot for your shop to be able to do everything from start to finish there with the interior work, the body work, the modifications, the metal work. It takes a lot of hours from start to finish there.
It does. It's a good and a bad thing for us, because it's a lot more stressful when you do it all and you have all that going on. But then you can quality control, or you can come up with your design. You're
Right.
Not, and the other thing is, anybody that's any good in anything that they do, they have a wait list.
Yeah.
And so that cuts it down. When we've got one, we don't have to send it to interior for a year.
Yeah,
We
fit
can
it
just
in.
pull it over there and knock it out and
Right.
get it out.
Definitely looks good, definitely clean. Now, the unique thing about these trucks, mine was the same way with the body color transfers over into the interior. So that color comes right inside as well.
Right.
And it's definitely makes those things neat and they stand them out. It's not all, vinyl or upholstery.
Right.
You bring over that body color into the cab. So you got to do body work inside the truck as well.
Right, yes, sir. So going along with the theme of trying to keep it, original-ish, looking, he wanted to carry it over, and we didn't think the black looked bad, in there with the red, so
Right.
we kind of left it on this truck.
Right. Now, I'm a big engine guy. Love horsepower. Now, we got to know what's under the hood.
So it's got a built 6.0 under the hood. Just cleaned up a little, but nothing over the top, just
Right.
something, again, we just wanted to kind of make it look like that's obviously not original, but not too over the top when you raise the hood. So just tried to keep it as original as we could with going to where we went.
Still got little like the small block style valve covers.
Yes, sir.
Got the transition on that as well. Where are the coils at?
So the coils are mounted down on the frame. They have remote coils, so we just like to hide them, keep
Right.
the wires down low on this one.
Right, and those LS engines, being able to move them like that, like I said, it really cleans it up. And these engines with that intake on it really sits low. It visually looks low.
It does,
You know.
and it may be a little bit lower than your average engine, but I like them sitting low.
Right.
I like that they get down out of the way, and so we just left that intake on there and painted it up and striped it. But again, we didn't want to go over the top. We
Yeah.
didn't want to go too far to where it didn't look like an original truck, didn't have some imperfections, or because the customer was really adamant about, I want it to appear to be like the truck was.
Right. And you can definitely drive it. I don't think this thing
Yes,
is
sir.
worried about getting this thing out on the road. You can definitely drive it.
Yeah,
Man,
I
it
think
looks
the
great.
appearance of it's just half the story. like you
Right,
said.
right. It's got a function too,
It
and
does,
that
yes.
gives it an extra level of respect.
It does, yes, sir.
So these things, I mean, they're a labor of love, but as a business, you kind of got to make it efficient when you're working on those things. So how much time did it take from you guys to get this thing from start to finish?
Well, I tell all of our customers that, it's going to take for a full build, if you want it right, with everything else that we do, since we do have, interior shop and paint shop and all, we take in, not other stuff than just full builds.
Yeah.
And so this one probably took a little over a year with the condition we got it in.
Yeah.
But I tell everyone roughly about a year and a half on a full build.
That's actually pretty good for a lot of shops.
Yes.
It could be multiple years. I see many stories. So this guy had it for 3 years and they only got
Horror
this far.
stories.
Yeah,
Yep.
right. So to get this thing done in a year, that really works well. It shows your business is really moving quick. So
Yes, sir. I got a good team, and they really knock it out of the park. They come in and love what they do, and that makes a difference too.
Right.
They don't hate their job. So
it's all about a team. If you can get a group of guys that work well together and they know their motions and who they can count on for what, it makes it really efficient and work well.
yes, sir.